Hi, I'm Jess Cook. I'm the Managing Director of 107 Projects, located at 107 Redfern Street, Redfern. So 107 Projects began as an artist-run initiative in Surrey Hills with 3 different organisations. First up was Not Gallery and the Frequency Lab, which was a visual arts and music element, and then I joined the team in 2003 with Token Imagination. We didn't actually become an incorporated association or 107 projects until about 2008, and we formalised our loose structure and were on the search for a new home, and then eventually found 107 Redfern Street. But it's now really evolved into more of an artist-led incorporated association rather than artist-run. The artist-run usually means that it's the idea that you've got artists managing and running it. So I guess First Draft is still an artist-run space. There's quite a few examples, but artist-led is that we've actually got managers in the positions rather than artists as managers. So, but when you say artist-led, it's everyone makes their decisions based on what artists need. So it's very artist-focused. It's just that we've got creative producers or managers. But I think what's important is they can't just be administrators. I think it's very important to still have an artistic career or artistic interest while you're producing, because you can't expect to know and understand what artists need if you haven't been on the other side of the fence. Well, 107 began with 3 high school buddies who got together and decided that they wanted to open a disused dentist clinic in Hibernian House, and they moved in. One of them got golden staph in the process, because this, you can imagine it was like this empty, forgotten about space, and then they transformed that into Not Gallery and the Frequency Lab. I was not happy with the direction I was going in, which was very much theatre, straight theatre land. And so when I went to an event called 72 Hours of Art and I met these guys, or 48 Hours of Art it was, and I met these guys, I was like, oh my God, I'm home. Because even though everyone had their main interest, there was this sense of the arts being multi and being like a big fruit salad, rather than like, well, you're a visual artist so you live over there, and you're a performance artist so you live over there. So it was more like in this very small space, 178 square metres, that you had a lot of collision and accident and incident, and I think that is very attractive to creatives, and it's very nourishing when you feel like you've got an idea and you can express yourself. So it really came out of the fact that there, in the late 90s, there weren't a lot of independent spaces, and with poker machines being introduced and all that kind of stuff, I think there was a real movement in Sydney of, and this always happens in waves with different generations, but for these guys it was, trying to take back a bit of Sydney for themselves so that they could share it with creatives and audiences. We needed a space that was affordable, accessible, and that fit the multi-purpose approach that we wanted. So I think once you understand what you want to do in a physical space, then you start to create a list of what kind of a building you need. So when we were searching, we were like, oh, we really need somewhere. Again, we had like no money, and we were walking past Redfern Street after an art installation down in Surrey Hills, and we saw this building, and there was a big metal gate, and it was open, and there was an old man with a ute at the back, and I remember looking in and just going, whoa, wow, that is beautiful. And it looked terrible, but I thought we thought it was beautiful, and we really saw the potential in it. So then we started to negotiate. I mean, then you have to really negotiate with the owner of the building. So the owner of this building, unbeknownst to us at the time, ended up being the City of Sydney. And so now we had a prospectus, we had a history of a previous space being successful, but not on this scale. And I guess it was also that thing where the real estate agent was like, you really want to rent this? Because it wasn't, you know, apart from being a car park, I think for a lot of people, there was nothing attractive about it at all. But we saw the potential, and we started that conversation, and then we didn't end up following through because we couldn't secure a lease long enough to give us the time to slowly develop the space. And then what happened is then we were again walking past randomly and saw that there was a development sticker up, and that the City of Sydney was developing it into artist studios, an exhibition space. And then we found out that there was nobody told us, it was again accidental, which of course I can't tell you, but it was going out to tender for people to apply for the space. So it kind of happened, I guess they thought that it was a good idea. Anyway, I'm probably telling too much information, but and then we had to, like everybody else, apply, and it was a competitive process because, you know, there were a lot of people coming through, and even though there was so much work that had to be done to it, I think people were like, wow, this could be something really, really, really great. It's really great to say that now we employ 3 full-time staff, 2 part-time, and some subcontractors. When we began, the 7 of us were volunteering for 6 years. It took us 6 years to get a space. And then once we were here, we were all volunteering. Then we were able to create some stipend fees as we began. This is when we were still an artist-run initiative. And so we were able to generate our own income through hiring the space. And then we were able to pay ourselves, like, I think we were, at one point I was on $3.68 an hour. And and it's still not that much better than that. But no, everybody did it because of the love. But obviously there's that thing of, you know, people have lives, but also, you know, how can we ensure that what people are investing in 107, whether that's their brains, their time, or their passion, that they're rewarded. So for a long time we were doing a lot of bartering, so, you know, free rehearsal, free, you know, for our directors and our volunteers. But we were very lucky in that we did get a grant and a matching grant, which provided the part-time roles for myself and then our development manager Dario, who was kind of, we slowly but steadily continue to grow and find more opportunities, because that's also why we exist, is to not only provide affordable space but create opportunities for artists and to encourage everyone to be entrepreneurial. And all of our staff have created the expansion of their role. So a lot of them began as volunteers. Lauren Williams began as Lauren Lloyd Williams began as a volunteer helping out with our theatre director, and then she's slowly grown that role into, she's just gone on as part-time as our bookings manager, and it's because of all the amazing work that she's done with the bookings that we've been able to grow. Very exciting, it's all official, and 107 is now the head tenant or manager of 3 Joyton Avenue in Zetland, which is the Joyton Avenue Creative Centre. Another amazing building owned by the City of Sydney. It went out to tender and we were successful. It's very different to 107 Redfern Street. What's really cool about it is there's lots of artist studios. It'll have a real focus on artist studios, workshops, and kind of community co-working spaces as well, because I think in that area they're still, it's because it's developing, there aren't really a lot of social spaces. So I think it's going to definitely be a place for people to connect. and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful building. Yeah.